Welcome to chess, ladies and gentlemen. All right, cool. So we have round 7 of the New in Chess Classic rolling. We have Wesley Soul versus Quang Liem. So for all my people that are from the Philippines, almost out Tayo, it is 3:13 a.m. there. So some of you guys might be stirring up at some point coming up when this, as it's getting morning. Mabuhay, ingat lagi to you guys. Welcome to my video. Magandang umaga, maayong buntag, hagala, and kaibagan. Appreciate it very much for you guys coming by. And anybody that might be coming from Vietnam or who speaks Vietnamese, I will say Jiao. I'm not sure if I say Jiao Ko, Jiao M, who exactly is watching my video. But come on down. Appreciate you guys stopping by and taking a look at my video. If you guys are ready, let's take a look and see what we have for this game. Let me make sure my volume's. I always have my volume down, man. I gotta be quiet, you know what I'm saying, sometimes. Alright, cool. So we got E4, E5, we got knight to F3, knight to C6. And like I say, probably 85% of the times you play E4 and E5, it's gonna go this way. Doesn't always have to, but just it's probably the most solid way to play. So we see bishop to B5, A6, we have bishop to A4. This was Paul Morphy's way of actually playing this opening, because he liked preserving the bishop, and I'm more of an exchange person, so when I was playing this, I would exchange here instead of dropping the bishop back. It's about equal either way, kind of whatever you prefer to do. So we see knight to F6, castles by white, bishop to E7. Of course, as you guys always know, you're not giving up anything here, because the bishop is the rook is going to be coming here, and something like this would you'd be fine here. You'd be getting your pawn back, you'd be good to go. So it's not a gambit of a pawn. So after bishop to E7, we see rook to E1, because now if you wait another turn, it's going to be a gambit of a pawn. So we see B5 by black, bishop to B3 by white. We got D6, C3. It's always a good idea, not always a good idea, but it's a pretty good idea a lot of the times to, push C3 and, before you push D4, because it just reinforces the center. That way you can take back with the pawn and don't have to take back with your knight, or some other piece. So we see castles by black. We got H3, bishop to B7. We got D4, rook to E8. We got knight to G5. Now, this is easily defendable, but it's just kind of like, why not? Why not tickle the F7 pawn? It's a weak point. You're not going to lose any time by doing it. You're basically just going to be repeating positions. So it could also be a time thing. So we ended up getting back to the same position we were in before. So we see knight B to D2, which was probably his original intention. But, he went ahead and just threw that in there and gained a little bit of time. So we see bishop back to F8. We have A4. Pawn takes D4. Pawn takes D4. We have H6. So we have bishop down to C2. We have knight to B4. And we really, really want to hold on to this bishop, mostly because this piece, this pawn is attacked, bam, 1, 2, 3. So this piece is attacked 3 times and is defended 3 times with the bishop. So we have to preserve the bishop. So we got bishop to B1, and then we have C5. And what I want you to do in this position here is see if you can guess. This is a positional idea. Basically, to give you a hint, this bishop is a really, really good piece. And if you can keep this diagonal going, if you can open the game up, you're going to be doing really well as black. So go ahead and pause the video and see what white plays here, to, positionally just restrict what black has going on. All right, cool. So I think I kind of gave the answer away a little bit. Basically, this bishop wants the game to get opened up, right? And so the best thing you can do against the bishop here is actually close the position with D5. You only have 2 attackers now, so you have the freedom to, kind of move some pieces around. But it's just a little bit better for white. And then now this bishop is kind of sad because now it's just kind of biting on rock. So it's Yeah, it's a nice little positional concept. I mean, basically in this position here, you know, white is kind of like losing some space a little bit. So he's trying to, you know, prevent and restrict black's pieces as much as possible. Because, you know, you kind of have this knight in your business over here. So it's not looking the greatest. So we see knight back to d7. We're going to possibly try to push like a f5 situation so we can just try to open the game up a little bit. We see rook to a3. We have c4. So as you can see, black has some really nice space, you know, against white. They have these pawns really, really far advanced into their camp. You know, their knight is in here. And so, you know, they're doing pretty good as far as kind of like pushing themselves forward. So, I mean, black is doing all right. So we got the knight to d4. You know, holes are really, really nice for knights. You know, ideally, you'd like to try to get it into c6 or something. But, you know, right now, the square is heavily defended. So we see queen to f6, attacking the undefended knight in the middle. And so we see knight 2 to f3. All right, so we got knight to c5. And now the unfortunate thing for white is the fact that this is a really, really big hole. It's what we call an outpost. You know, as you can see, both knights are like just really, really ready to get in there. So it was probably beneficial at some point to try to break this pawn chain down. So that way, you know, the knights didn't just kind of jump up into your kitchen. So we see pawn takes b5, pawn takes b5, and we see b3. And b3 is actually the novelty of the game. It's never been seen before. It kind of has a legitimate idea behind it. I mean, you're wanting to trade here and possibly try to pick off this pawn to undermine the protection that these knights are having when they jump in this square. So, I mean, it's legit. So we see knight b to d3. And, you know, we can't let that slide. That's just too much fire in our house. So the bishop takes on d3. We have the knight takes on d3, and then now we have to move the rook. So we got rook to e3, and now we see queen to g6. Now this is the position in the game where actually, you know, white has a good chance at you know, kind of getting a slight advantage. It's going to be maybe like 0.2, 0.3 type advantage, but it's something to actually play on for. But in the game, this is what we saw. Knight came to h4, you know, checking the queen. The queen went back to f6. We saw knight h to f3. The queen went back to g6, knight to h4, queen to f6, knight h to f3. And it is in this position that the players agree. They drew by threefold repetition. And this is something that the computer automatically, you know, notices. You know, that once you've made a 3-4 repetition, that it's kind of like when you're playing on chess.com, it's just automatically possible to get a draw. So it's a little bit unfortunate. You know, Wesley So definitely needed more than a draw. But after queen came to g6, something that was possible was actually knight takes b5. And then after we saw knight to f4, you know, of course, threatening checkmate here. We could see knight to e1. And then not only are we protecting the checkmate square, but we're also protecting this pawn because right now it's pinned. So we definitely, you know, are doing a lot better. Because normally you might have like a knight taken here, you know, checking the king, but we don't have that now. So we see rook, we would see rook takes a3, knight takes a3, rook takes e4, pawn takes c4, rook takes e3, and then bishop takes e3. And as you can see, white is up an entire pawn here. So I'm not really sure if Wesley So just didn't really like this or what, but this was definitely like a try, you know, that white had to try to, you know, get that W, which is definitely what Wesley So needs in this tournament is that big old juicy W. So yeah, that is the game, guys. Like I said, they drew by 3-4 repetition. So I appreciate you guys coming by. Maraming salamat po sa nanonood ng aking mga video. Appreciate you guys stopping by, taking a look at my stuff. Come on ban to anybody who speaks Vietnamese. Thank you very much. And I'll see you guys next time.